Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, man, we got a lot of news, including Kenny Omega's health scare. Woo! Oh my goodness gracious. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Liv Morgan's unfortunate run-in with Johnny Law.
John Q. Law.
John Q. Law. We're going to talk about that. The latest in WWE's attempt to acquire the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, and where that stands. Of course, we're going to talk about WWE Smackdown and AEW Collision, more Continental Classic, and jacked AJ Styles returns to Smackdown. So, Larson, let's go ahead and start off with the cleaner Kenny Omega, because this is a scary situation.
It is. It's a bummer. It's a bummer news dropped late Friday. Kenny Omega posted on Twitter, quote, "I can't really sugarcoat this. I'm out indefinitely. I tried to keep pushing past the pain for as long as I could until it became too much. Luckily, doctors caught me when they did. I'll be here." So, and post a picture of himself in the hospital. "So in the meantime, please enjoy wrestling." And shortly thereafter, Fightful Sean Ross Sapp offered an update on Kenny's condition, tweeting, quote, "We're told Kenny had been ill throughout the last week, even ahead of his match with Ethan Page. He still did the match and the promos and sought medical attention after, where he was hospitalized and diagnosed with diverticulitis."
Ooh, that is rough. Diverticulitis is no joke.
Brock had it when he was in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shane McMahon had it.
Oh, yeah, I remember
There was a story where he was on vacation or something, had to be, like airlifted out or something like that.
Yeesh.
So there's little... There's little stuff. There's stuff in your intestines called diverticula.
Mm-hmm.
They're like little bulging pouches. This is literally from Mayo Clinic. I'm reading this.
Yeah,
and they get inflamed or infected, and they cause pain and other issues. And left untreated, I think it get pretty serious.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, good they caught it before it. Hopefully, didn't get to the serious phase.
Yeah.
I like Brock had to have a piece of his intestines removed, I believe.
Yeah. Because I think he was fighting. He had like one fight. I think his one loss in UFC, or when he lost his title or something like that.
Yeah.
He was battling
right?
Yeah. And he was battling diverticulitis at the time. And it's like, oh my God, he actually had a UFC fight like while battling that. And that's Brock Lesnar, big tough guy.
Yeah.
That's scary business right there.
It is. It really is. So on a recent Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer offered up some more details. These transcripts come to you from Wrestle Talk. Quote, "It's diverticulitis. I did not hear if he has had surgery yet, but he was rushed to the hospital on Friday, December 15th. He had been in a lot of pain, and he thought what happened was he had the hernia, which was really, really bad, which caused him to have that long period off, and he had been hurting really, really bad and presumed it was a hernia. He kept training on it, working on it, did the match with Ethan Page. He was hurting really bad on Wednesday when he did the promo with Jericho. By that point, it was really bad, so he went to the hospital and found out he had diverticulitis. It was a really bad situation in the sense that if he had gone in for another day or so, it could have been horrendous. I heard from him. He just said that he had been in pain, had trouble sleeping, but he just thought it was the hernia acting up again. Once he found out it wasn't, he said there could have been really, really bad complications. It was a very, very serious situation by the time he got to the hospital."
Yeah, I mean, kind of, I'm not going to say it was obvious, but like, because he's Kenny Omega. He had like a stellar first half of the year, but this dude, he just gets, he wrestles like he puts everything out there whenever he does, even at this age, even with this many miles on his body, he's just an absolutely outstanding wrestler. And so when he comes out for a sleepy promo with Chris Jericho, it's like, well, he's probably just exhausted. But it seemed to be a lot worse than that.
A lot more than that, yeah.
So during the post-final battle media scrum, which I heard, by the way, was a really good show.
I heard that too.
Tony Khan. Man, did you see Athena's, not for nothing, but did you see Athena's Bane entrance attire? Yeah. Oh my
cool.
Gosh, that was cool. Anyways.
Pretty neat.
So Tony Khan, of course, the head of AEW, offered up the latest on Kenny. He said this: "These transcripts come to you via WrestleZone." He said, "So I think we're all really concerned, but thankfully he's communicating, and I think we're hoping for the best, and I think it's taken a turn for the better. The most important thing is that he got help from the doctors at the right time and didn't wait any longer because he was in a lot of pain. And I don't think we knew how sick he was, or nobody would have wanted him. To be honest, I'll leave it to him to give updates because he's already kind of been communicating, and it's his health, and I don't want to speak for him. But we're all praying for Kenny Omega, and thankfully it seems like there's good reasons to be very optimistic, but we are all really worried about him." So Yeah, Kenny seems, he just seems like a sweet guy,
He
which
does.
shouldn't really matter. Even if you're an asshole, you shouldn't have to go through that pain. But, it makes it even worse when it's somebody who really just seems like a sweet guy.
Yeah, yeah. And, he's given so much to the wrestling business.
True.
Like a few years ago, he had like a meniscus surgery and missed like a few weeks.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
When that's like a months long recovery.
For sure.
Like he is willing to put his body through a lot to entertain.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I'm happy that he got the treatment, or is the process of getting the treatment before this got super serious.
Oh man, yeah. This could be, people say serious, it could kill you. You know what I mean? Like it's bad.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this here. Liv Morgan made the headlines this weekend because she was, the mugshot. I didn't put the mugshot in the thumbnail, man. I don't like, I feel icky putting the thumbnail. I've done that before, and I feel bad about it. I don't feel good about it. Especially for something silly like this, man. So the Village News reported Friday that Liv Morgan was arrested Thursday evening, stating, of course, her last name is Daddy. What's her real first name? I forget. I don't know.
It's in the write up here.
She has a great last name, though. Daddy-O. Daddy-O was driving a yellow Jeep.
Gianna,
that's what it is. Gianna Daddy-O was driving a yellow Jeep at around 6:30 p.m. Thursday on County Road 476 when a Sumter County Sheriff's deputy noticed the vehicle crossed over the yellow and white lines on the roadway several times, according to an arrest report. When the deputy approached the Jeep, the odor of marijuana was detected. A small plastic bag containing marijuana was found in a pink fuzzy bag in the vehicle. A vape pen containing an oil-like substance was found in the Jeep's center console. The substance tested positive for marijuana. Daddy-O was arrested on charges of possession of synthetic cannabinoid, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug equipment. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $3,000 bond. Fightful Select thankfully reports that despite the arrest, Liv has no heat on her within WWE. It doesn't seem like plans are going to be changing because of this
that with
silliness.
injury for a while. I think the shoulder injury that's been keeping her out since the summer.
Yeah.
It seems like WWE has not. I think it's been reported in the past. I think marijuana is still against the wellness policy, but seemingly they just don't really. They kind of turned a blind eye towards that and don't really care about that aspect
been enforced for a while. Yeah.
No, which is good because there's obvious medicinal qualities to it that can help people who are out there bumping 2-3 days a week.
Yeah,
that are probably living in constant pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's a bummer that possession of marijuana is still a legal issue in this country.
It's stupid, is what it is.
It is stupid.
It's stupid. And all these damn sheriffs out there. Every time I see like a sheriff, Sumter County Sheriff, I think of like Jackie Gleason and
Smokey and the Bandit.
Was he even the baddie in Smokey and the Bandit? I just imagine him as
so. Bandit was Bandit was the hero.
Yeah. What's that smell in your car, girl? That smells like the wacky tobacco. Why don't you get out of the car?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to take you in.
I'm going to have to take you in. And then Burt Reynolds pulls up and he trips the Gleason falls.
Chewing his gum.
Yeah. What's wrong out here, Sheriff?
So Liv Morgan is gonna start playing the Sally Field role, is what you're saying.
You got that right.
There we go.
Eastside here says Florida continues to just be the absolute worst. Here we go. Who is this? Pete Santiago says Buford T. Justice. Buford T. Justice.
Oh my God!
somebody do the thing where they get behind Buford and get down on all fours, and then somebody pushes them over.
Exactly. Yeah.
Roly poly on the floor. Oh man.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, it's good to hear that Liv will apparently. I don't know when she was planned on coming back or cleared from her injury or whatever. But yeah, hopefully this is true and this isn't held against her.
Plans for her to win the Cannonball Run are still in place, hopefully.
Still in place, yes. Yeah. There you go.
Let's talk about the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. So a few weeks back, Dave Meltzer, those other guys mentioned that there was renewed interest within the WWE to sign Kazuchika Okada once his contract expires. in early 2024. Over the weekend, might have gotten an indication that Okada might not be long for New Japan. Super J-Cast tweeted this. It appears that Barry Bloom, the agent, they're making a joke. Okay. It appears that the bloom may be off the rose for Okada and New Japan, capital B in Bloom, seemingly referencing Agent Barry Bloom, who of course represents Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, I think the entire Elite, if I'm not mistaken.
That could be.
And then a bunch of others in the wrestling business. Sean Ross Sapp followed up. The Barry Bloom Kazuchika Okada rumors are nowhere near official. However, it wouldn't surprise me to see them come to fruition. If that's the case, you would think that the odds of him going to AEW might be likelier than him heading to the WWE.
So, it seems like Barry Bloom is the Scott Boras, if you're familiar with sports agents of the wrestling world. He's like
the
Arliss super agent.
The Arliss, or the, what is Jerry Maguire's character in?
Sure, fictional agents, yes.
In Jerry Maguire.
I'm here talking about real sports agents. You're bringing up the fictional.
What was Tom Cruise's name in Jerry Maguire, Larson?
I have a hard time remembering. I didn't sleep well last night.
Buford T. Agent.
Yeah, exactly. I remember he had a mission statement.
Mm-hmm. Show me the money!
Led him to lose his job at high-powered agency. Jay Moore. Jay Moore took his place.
Moore. Damn you.
So if Okada is looking to procure the services of Barry Bloom to negotiate his new deal, I mean, it seems like you might be at least entertaining the idea of seeing what options he has out there. I mean, there was a couple other outlets over the weekend whose reporting I'm not familiar with, so I didn't necessarily feel comfortable including it in here because I don't know how viable the sourcing, the information is.
God damn you being responsible, Larson.
I know, but like there was one place saying that WWE's out of the running for Okada. There was another one saying that Okada was getting like the Will Ospreay deal where he's going to be allowed to negotiate in advance of his contract expiring. I'm like, I don't know about either of those two deals.
Yeah. Man. I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if he should go to AEW. Go to the WWE. They're hot right now, Larson.
Yeah. No, I understand. I would be like, you'd think a wrestler of Okada's stature, one of the best wrestlers in the world, and has been for a good number of years.
Yeah.
You'd think regardless of where he went, he would be utilized to his fullest, but in AEW, it's not always the case. Scott D'Amore just said on Busted Open that they're on the precipice of a huge signing ahead of Hard to Kill because could they be signing Okada?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. No. It'd
chance.
be like if it's anywhere from New Japan, it'd be like Goto level. It's like, oh wow, they got Goto. Cool, right on.
Yeah, Taichi coming to yeah.
Yeah, who do you think that big sign? I saw somebody mention that in chat. Who do you think the big signee is?
I don't know.
Like TNA.
Is it AJ Styles? Are they going to bring AJ back? Jacked AJ?
Jacked AJ? Scott D'Amore took one look at Jacked AJ. It was like, we got to get him. It's like,
no, here's the thing. Is like, Scott D'Amore is like, hey, you want to come back to TNA? This is a joke, by the way.
Oh, good.
Because if he talked to AJ before his contract expired, that's tampering. Can't do that.
Oh, yeah. We don't want to accuse him of doing that.
But for the sake of conversation, it's like, hey, AJ, you want to come to TNA when your WWE contract expires? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. All right, let's make an impact here. Get it?
Yeah.
Super jacked.
Yeah, get really loked.
Like, start now.
Did you see AJ hit that phenomenal forearm? He looked like that ring was about to collapse when he got up on the top rope. He's gonna have to change his style to like a brawler or something, man. Enough of these crazy moves of yours. Jesse here in YouTube chat says AEW Okada's like 0-3. So like,
yeah, he is.
I mean, that's my thing.
AEW yet.
They have this ability, AEW so far has had this ability of taking people from New Japan and making them seem not special.
Yeah.
Like, they brought Will Ospreay before he could even be there, and he had to, chastise the crowd for piping, oh, pipe down, bro. Whoa, I can't be here yet. Like, that's the level of the... Like, do you think... I don't know. I shouldn't say this. I should not say this. Do you think WWE ever brings somebody on to do a promo and say, I can't wrestle here yet? You know what I mean? Like, bring them in when they can do something.
Well, probably the reason that Tony Khan brought Will in because there was but because of the reports of WWE being interested in signing him, so he wanted to swoop WWE on all that. But also the all-in tickets, yeah.
I kind of feel like maybe more the all-in tickets because, but they had the pre-sale going on and everything, and that's been very successful. Hey, What do I know?
WWE, he'll take advantage.
Yeah, maybe to stick at WWE too. But I don't know, like Kota Ibushi. I don't know if anybody can say that was a success story in AEW. You know, it's not like they made him seem special. Jay White, yeah, he just main evented a pay-per-view. That's cool. And what he's doing with the Bang Bang Gang has been good. But, like, I don't know. He doesn't really feel like what Jay White, I feel like, probably should.
No, he doesn't necessarily feel. I know he just main event a pay-per-view, but he doesn't necessarily feel like a main eventer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Big MGM says that's technically what the WWE did with Jade. No, they signed her. Like, she was there. They had to deprogram her crappy AEW training. That's so bad. That's so bad. Look, man, we're coming up 2024. I'm going to try to be more positive, okay? I'm going to try to be more positive.
You know, we were supposed to be the positive pro wrestling podcast out there.
I like jokes, though. Jokes are fun, you know?
Yeah, we can crack jokes, still be positive.
We can crack jokes, right? We used to crack them at WWE's expense all the time.
All the time. People didn't mind that. We were still the positive wrestling podcast when that happened.
I know, exactly. You know, no more toxicity. That's what I say. That's going to last 10 minutes, bro.
Yeah, no.
That's going to last 10 minutes. Anyways, before we dive into talking about the Smack, what do you think? Okada and AEW, you think that'll work or no?
I mean,
think it's a good idea,
but I don't know if it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, I don't know what New Japan's like financial situation is now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of had a bit of an up and down year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, if it's a situation where he thinks he probably could get more money elsewhere, he's done basically everything he could do in New Japan. He holds most of the major records as far as world title reigns.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like combined days and title defenses and all that.
Yeah.
If he thinks, all right, time at 35, 34, however old he is, time for a new challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, I get the history. Like, I understand the history of, like, his contemporary Shinsuke Nakamura in WWE was great at the beginning in NXT, came to main roster, they treat him like dude. They put him with Boogs. That being said, by the way, Boog's only $65 on Cameo.
Wow.
Our 10 years coming up. I was looking at Cameos today. Man, I got a whole army of them for like a really reasonable price if we want to pull the trigger on that.
That's good. All right. Well.
So we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Merry
There's some
Christmas
names
to
on
us.
here. Yeah, right. Anyways, so I don't know. We'll talk a little bit more about AEW. I do think that AEW's onto something really good with this Continental Classic.
Yeah,
though.
they are.
And if they try more of an approach in the new year with stuff like that, I think they should bring back the rankings. But I think
so too.
That could benefit somebody like an Okada.
Yeah.
If you want to go heavy on the really good wrestling stuff, as opposed to putting Port Takeshita with the Don Callis family, and now where is he?
I know.
So I think Okada could totally work if they're gonna try to shift to a more sports like New Japan type situation, which I think could work if you're consistent with it.
And that's the thing, is that they're not.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not to say that if you're going to focus on the kind of the more sports-centric aspect of pro wrestling, that's all you can do, because I think there's still wiggle room to do some of the sports entertainment, character-based storytelling as opposed to strictly in-ring storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But again, you have to be consistent with it.
Yeah. Right.
And what they're doing with the Continental Classic right now, where it's provided a lot of focus in terms of telling stories in the ring, I think for that matter, it's been wildly successful.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah. It's been really
and it harkens
good,
back to AEW's their prime, in 2021, where that was the focus. So much of the show was telling stories in the ring.
It's what Cody said it was going to be. And I feel I kind of feel like they got away from that relatively quickly, but I think there's some good ground there. We'll talk about that in our AEW Collision recap. But yeah, I think if they focus more on the wrestling aspect, then Okada will be a good fit there. Otherwise, I think sort of this late push for WWE to show, hey, we're trying to use Shinsuke in a good way now. You know, I think that's sort of more what Okada would want to look at in terms of, okay, what's the pitch for WWE? I'd love to see him there. I mean, I think that they're firing all cylinders right now, and I think that'd be really fun to see what they could do with Okada. But whatever he wants to do. I understand he's got a family in Japan, so maybe
and his
this
wife's
would
like a huge star in Japan too. So
yeah, exactly. So I understand
the relocating aspect of it. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyways, before we get going with our WWE SmackDown recap, Larson, you want to go ahead and pay some bills, perhaps?
Let's do it, Steve.
All right. This episode of Going In Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know, Larson, the holiday season, it's all about giving, and regardless if you get gifts or not from your loved ones, you get to define how you give to yourself. So whether you treat yourself to a day of rest to recharge, go easy on yourself during tough moments, or decide to start therapy, remember to give yourself some love this holiday season.
Yeah, back in my mid-20s, I found myself in a tough spot after I started dealing with severe anxiety. It got bad enough that I was faced with a decision. Was I going to allow my anxiety to get in the way of my happiness, or was I going to go to therapy so I could start learning the tools I needed to better cope with my anxiety? It took me a couple of tries, but I eventually found a therapist I felt comfortable talking to, and therapy got me back on a path to living a happier, more productive life.
So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. Then you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
In the season of giving, give yourself what you need with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
All right, let's talk about SmackDown. Roman Reigns returned to set up his match against Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble. Some complications involved, though. LA Knight wants a piece of that Roman Reigns. Yeah, huh? Nah. Randy Orton wants in on that. And another name appeared, jacked, swole, AJ Styles. Oh, my God, this guy is huge these days. I mentioned this earlier when he did that phenomenal form. I was like, whoa, buddy. You put on like a couple extra LBs of muscle. Those ropes are not going to be able to handle all that beef.
More than a couple extra.
Yeah, man.
It's an interesting dynamic now where you had AJ coming back, lays out, Randy and LA Knight fend off Bloodline, but then he turns around and whoop-ha. Decks LA Knight, you'd think, for taking his spot in the tag match against Cena. It's going to be interesting how it shakes up the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Is this going to derail LA Knight's potential feud with Logan Paul for that U.S. title? Or is that still in the plan? Is Randy going to get sidetracked from his pursuit of Bloodline post-Rumble to feud with AJ heading into WrestleMania? I honestly don't know. I think even just Roman having Roman on SmackDown brought some focus to kind of a meandering Bloodline story that had been kind of spinning its wheels over the last few months.
Big time. Yeah, big time.
And it really needed it. It's we talk all the time about how when Roman's not there, you still feel his presence. But since probably SummerSlam, but for sure since Crown Jewel, his actual physical presence there has really been missed in terms of really giving the Bloodline's direction. It's been in him showing up and saying, "Solo, you're the heir apparent. You're next in line to be tribal chief," and seeing Jimmy's reaction to it. I like that Roman is saying, "Hey, it's promotion season."
Yeah, right. Yeah. Trying to butter up Jimmy with not a lot to offer, but Jimmy still bites on it.
The promise of something, anything
after naming Solo. Yeah, I thought, dude, I'll be honest with you. You're exactly right. Since Crown Jewel, the absence has been more noticeable because it's basically just Jimmy acting a fool and Solo just sort of doing, and Paul Heyman, So the absence has been noticeable. I thought the crowning of Solo Sikoa as, the heir to the tribal chief seemed to come out of nowhere with no real motivation behind it. I felt like him just showing up and being there. And I know they're planting a seed, but I feel like there really should have been some seeds to plant before you go into this. Like Roman shows up and maybe I'm going to do some cheesy fantasy booking here, but Roman shows up and maybe the absence is addressed. And maybe he says, my days of being here, it's going to be more like this than it was a year ago, where I'm going to be here less and less. So I'm going to need true representation. So I'm going to pick one of you guys to be the heir apparent. And then you tell that story, as opposed to he just shows up. Hey, everybody, we're going to have an acknowledgement ceremony and acknowledge Solo because he's going to be the next guy. feel like there could have been more of a build to that moment. And then we get Randy Orton saying, hey, I'm going to take it all away at the Rumble. We all know that's not going to happen.
Maybe the situation is Roman's been watching at home and seeing Jimmy just acting a fool the whole time. It was like, all right, I got to put an end to this.
And that could very well be. You know, that could very well be. I've always seen like no evidence that anybody watches WWE programming unless they explicitly say, right, exactly. They're not there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But yeah, it does. It muddies the waters. It complicates things with LA Knight, with, AJ Styles. Obviously, he wants, I don't know what he wants. Yeah, is he upset that LA Knight took his place? Why would he be? He was taken out. LA Knight, simply took the opportunity. So it'll be interesting to see what AJ has to say. I think I like when they do that, at least. I like when they do the cliffhanger. It's like, oh, why did AJ do what he did? Is it because the spot was taken? Is it because, he wants to jump ahead in line to get back at Roman? Is that the situation? We'll find out, I guess, maybe on Friday. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? I guess we can just jump into it. Show opens up with a Bloodline promo. Roman leads them all to the ring, gets the mic from Heyman, says, Green Bay, acknowledge me. They give him a bunch of boos too, and he says, shut your mouth. All right, shut your mouth. Yeah. Now, I wouldn't have to do that if you kept the booze down. Come on, it's holiday season. I'm here to celebrate. It's promotion season, y'all. Because I'm a good boss. I'm a fair tribal chief. When someone's doing good, I let them know. Somebody's doing bad, we smash them.
Smash them.
That's not tonight. So tonight is about one man.
Sorry, I love that line. If somebody's doing bad, we smash him.
No, it's great. So tonight's about one man, and Jimmy's like, oh, he's talking about me. He starts getting himself ready to be celebrated, essentially.
Takes his jacket off, yeah.
Yeah, this man has bent over backwards. He sacrificed everything you can imagine in the last year. This man understands what representing our family means. This man understands what it's like keeping our family at the top of the mountain. God forbid if anything happens to me, this is the man who's going to step up. He's the next in line. So the crowd seemed like they were chanting Jimmy at first, but then they start chanting Randy, or maybe it was Randy the whole time. And Roman says, no one's asking for Randy Orton. No. This man is going to be responsible for this bloodline. This is the next tribal heir, the next tribal chief. Jimmy, join me in congratulating your brother, Solo. Oof. So Roman gives Solo a hug, tells him, I love you.
Yeah.
Continues. So now you see, and that's when Randy Orton comes, interrupts.
I hear voices in my head.
Imagine they thought about changing that.
Oh my gosh. I hope whoever thought about that got RKO'd, man, because that's a terrible idea. So Smackdown rolls on back from commercial, and somebody had some fan cam video of Randy Orton just milling about near the ring steps during the commercial. Anyways, Orton gets in there and says, for 18 months, I've been thinking about this moment right here. I've been thinking about what I'm going to do. I've been thinking about what I'm going to say. But you know what, Roman? The only thing I really need to say to you is that I'm coming for you. You took 18 months from me, so I'm going to take everything away from you. I don't care which one of your family members I have to go through to get the job done. Fact of the matter is, big dog, it starts tonight. It ends at the Rumble because I'm challenging you for the WWE Championship, and I love that they're picking up where LA Knight started by just calling it the WWE Championship.
Same, because WWE Undisputed Universal Championship is a mouthful. It's a lot.
And I think Triple H realized that and was like, listen, just call it, especially LA Knight. You're already giving him a lot to do, and he's not used to doing that much.
No. So Roman responds, by the sound of the fans, sounds like you deserve it. But hold up. What did you say? 18 months? You've been thinking about this? Well, I haven't thought about you at all. You've been gone for 18 months. You haven't done anything to earn this opportunity. Therefore, you don't earn this opportunity. Therefore, you can go to the back of the line where you belong. This is crazy. Everyone wants to get down with the tribal chief. They think they just show up and get the opportunity. That's not how it works. So no, why don't you go ahead and do what you do? Tap into that big dumb head of yours and listen to those voices that are going off. It isn't 2007 anymore. I'm levels above you and everybody else. Those voices in your head are telling you right now, get out of the ring, Randy. Run. Leave this man alone.
Do
not disrespect your tribal chief. Because if you have a match with me, it ain't going to be an 18-month vacation. Understand me. It's just retirement. You ain't ever coming back.
So Randy says, you know what? Maybe you're right. I'm looking into the eyes of the tribal chief, and I can see that you've changed for the better. You've evolved. You're no longer just a historical champion. You, sir, are a legend. Now, I've changed, too. I've evolved. I get it. But the one thing Randy Orton will always be is a legend killer. So Randy looks for an RKO, but Roman's able to shove him off and escape. Randy takes a knee and says, hold on. He says, you say you've been thinking about me. Maybe you should start thinking about me. He says, hold on. I'm getting something right now from the voices in my head. You know what they say? The voices just told me that, Roman, you might have just crapped your pants. You did a pupe. He said, there's one more. He said, there's one more thing they also said, and I'll leave you with this. Daddy's back. You just did full soil in your tribal pants.
My voice in my head are saying that, yeah, you did full soil with the head of the table pants. Yep.
The voice in my head said, what's that stinky?
Exactly.
You did a boo-boo.
Hey, let's take a moment here. We got a couple
yeah.
super chats, a couple memberships.
Man.
David Batushek, member for 8 months, says, did you hear that Jade Chung is now TNA's ring announcer? That's awesome.
That's cool. Right on.
And then High Plains Drifter says, no, Surly Steve for life, referencing conversation earlier.
Oh, yeah. Going negative, going toxic. Toxic Steve, is that going to be 2024? Or, what's the opposite of toxic? Pure Steve.
Sure, yeah. Nurturing Steve.
Nurturing Steve. I don't think you guys are ready for nurturing Steve.
So we got 600 people watching. There must be something wrong here, but only 99 likes.
In the system?
There must be.
99 likes?
Yeah.
Okay, can somebody Google, is YouTube having a problem?
That's got to be okay.
With 102
now, but that still seems like not enough.
What is happening? We got over 600 people watching, and only 1/6 of you guys know how to hit the like button.
What happened?
Get out of here with that. Listen, we're a couple of big timers, okay? You got to hit that like button. You're embarrassing us right now. If other YouTubers come and be like, hey, let's go peep on Steven Larson, see what they're up. Oh my gosh, their crowd, they only gave him 100 likes on 600 concurrents. What is even happening right now? You guys are fumbling the ball. What you got to do, you got to hit that like button, all right? You got to hit that like button because, we got to represent properly here, people,
Yes.
So also,
and if not, you're going to get Surly Steve.
You're going to get Surly. You're not going to get Nurturing Steve. We all want Nurturing Steve, don't we? Or you want Surly Steve?
Surly Steve. 144. Not quite where we want to be, but hopefully we'll get there, yeah.
I mean, it's getting there. A bunch of people are like, oh, God damn it. Oh, man. Anyway.
Oh, man. I don't want the dog coming out on Steve.
So thanks for that. Also, of course, we got a Patreon, patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Also, if you hit join on YouTube, so we got the Friendo Club setup, man. We talking about Roman Reigns. We got to talk about the Tribal Chief setup, Larson. That's only for one person. Bad news for you guys. You can't have it. Sorry, Seth Rollins. It ain't for you. And by the way, you should be selling your back more.
Yes, you should, Seth.
The Friendo Club setup, though. Let me tell you something. The Friendo Club setup, that's for everybody. And all you got to do, there's 2 ways to do it. We're not just giving you one way to do it. We're giving you 2 ways to do it. You either hit the join button on YouTube to enlist with a channel club membership, or you go to patreon.com/Stephen Larson. You basically get the same thing for both of them, and it's access to our question threads, which we're going to read later, access to bonus episodes, which we're bringing back in a big way in 2024, and of course, but we got like a huge backlog of them, so if you want bonus episodes you haven't seen before, we've got a ton of them.
Lots of them.
And we've got our Big Blue Predictions Challenge. World's End is coming up. That's where Patrick Sparks. Let's get that. Hilton, do we have that picture of Graham? There he is. Graham. Hilton put up the picture of Graham there. That's Patrick Sparks with the Big Blue title. That can be you.
That's true.
Right there. That hideous. That's not a real person, but I wouldn't call a real person hideous. But this person right here, that's a fake person. But it's Patrick Sparks, who's a real person.
Graham.
That's Graham. So he could be the Big Blue Predictions champion. But you can only get there with the Friendo Club setup. Click join, go to patreon.com/Stephen Larson. I don't have a list of the new Friendo Club members on YouTube, but I do have a list of the latest patrons. I'm going to read them off real quick. Carson Thrasher, what a great name.
Wow, that was a good name.
He's a new member. Cameron Wright, CJ Mullins, Demain, and Amon, I think it's Amon, maybe it's Amon. McGee, what a great name. That's another great name. And then Damon LFC, all new Friendo Club members. You guys get the Friendo Club setup. If Seth Rollins wants it, he can get it too.
He can have it too.
Can't get the Tribal Chief setup. That's for one man.
Oh, no.
Very specifically not for Seth Rollins.
Yeah, not for Seth Rollins. Anyways, getting back to SmackDown. Thank you, everybody. Next, we had a match of the U.S. title tournament. Grayson Waller against Carmelo Hayes, who was making his SmackDown debut. Not a surprise here. Carmelo Hayes wins.
Yeah, man. Good news for him. He moves on. I forget what the brackets look like.
He faces Kevin Owens.
Oh, that's right. That was the backstage thing they had. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that was good stuff. Look, man. Carmelo Hayes. Phenomenal talent. Going to be a WrestleMania main eventer one day.
Absolutely.
He's got to get a different finish. It hurts my back to watch that finish. And on top of that, everybody needs to figure out how to sell the lead up to it, because Grayson Waller literally just went like this.
Yeah.
Just sitting there waiting for it. It didn't really look like he was selling much. He was just
you know what's great is that springboard DDT he does.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's awesome.
The height he gets on that is incredible.
Do that.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
But yeah, no, good stuff. He beats Waller, and then after that, we got Randy Orton backstage. He walks up to LA Knight. He says, there he is. I was wondering what time I should set my alarm to come save you. And Orton says, that's good. He said, just like last week, I don't need your help. And Knight says, I'm not saying you need my help or you're looking for my help. We know how those numbers work. Matter of fact, you wouldn't have been able to sign that contract to Smackdown if I didn't come out and save you. Now there's nothing wrong with that. You just know how those numbers work, Randy. Orton says, listen, I know we just met last week, but I feel like we're good, right? We picked up that win against Solo and Jimmy, so we're cool. We got the win together, and I feel like we're good. Let's keep it that way. All you got to do is stay out of my way. And Knight says, yeah, I'm not trying to get in your way. You're worried about Roman and the bloodline, but you got to understand there's one person taking everything away from Roman before anybody. It's one man, L.A. Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, nah from L.A. Knight. He's not going to stay out of his way.
No. Stay out of your way? Huh? No.
He's like, Randy, you're in my way.
Yeah. Next up, Kevin Owens, Austin Theory. Another match. U.S. title tournament. Of course, winner of this tournament faces Logan Paul. I failed to mention, before the Waller-Carmelo match, we had a little picture-in-picture promo, a little Matt chat question from Logan Paul where he's talking crap about Melo.
These were funny. He did these before both matches.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. This stuff is pretty funny. I like it. Logan Paul's good.
And this one, he's talking crap about Kevin Owens' gear. It says, Kevin Owens, you're embarrassing yourself.
Said he looks like a 12-year-old who's really too invested in dodgeball. Yeah. Which, I'll be honest with you, it sounds like a pretty sweet life to me. You know, who wouldn't want to be 12?
I mean, I look at Kevin Owens' ring gear, I'm like, man, he's comfortable.
Looks super comfy. I mean, it really is kind of like my basketball outfit, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the sleeveless shirts and the basketball shorts.
Basketball shorts, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So unlike Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens was selling his injury throughout this match. His hand, his busted hand. And lo and behold, as Cody established, if you have titanium cast on hand, you could use that during the course of the match. It's not a disqualification because that's how Kevin Owens won this.
So I feel like this was the thing that really shouldn't have taken Kevin Owens by surprise. I know he's a good guy now, so he's not looking to use it.
Yeah.
Like he did. And I did like the moment where he put two and two together, like, that was legal. I was able to do that. All right, cool. I'll just go ahead and pin him. That is sort of like a glaring hole in like the WWE. I know what you're gonna say, the rule book.
Sketchpad, Steve.
It's just a sketch pad. I have
Sketchpad. But no, I agree. But it is something that goes all the way back to D'Lo's vest, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They were saying that has like a metal plate on his chest to protect himself.
Right.
And yet he just used that to win matches.
Right. You know.
But at least then they would point out, shouldn't that be against the rules?
And I guess like, you know, the idea is if you're in there with a cast, in one way you're physically compromised because your opponent, as Theory did in this match, tried to take advantage and start beating on the actual, you know, hand.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it gives you somewhat an advantage because evidently it's also a titanium cast, which, you know, can lay out anybody, which none
at least in this match, they didn't say it was titanium.
True. I just sort of put two and together. I figured Kevin Owens knows Cody Rhodes.
He and Cody were friends. Do you think if we just called him Cody, hey, can I borrow your titanium cast now that my hand, like yours, is broken?
Right, exactly. That's what I was thinking too.
Although Cody broke his arm, not his hand. So maybe it is a different type of thing.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Sort of looks similar, so who knows?
Yeah, I know. They're like, you got a lower arm injury? Just put this on.
Yeah, exactly.
Sprained wrist, carpal tunnel.
Anywhere from, did you see that hyperextended knee yesterday in that football game?
Oh, that wasn't a hyperextended knee, man. In the game last night, you mean?
Yeah, right, yeah.
No, that dude blew out his knee. You watched the slow-mo of that?
Yeah, the little captions on the slow-mo said hyperextension.
No.
I was like, that's super hyperextension right there. That thing is going all over the place.
No. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but I saw that. As soon as I saw that, I was watching the game when that happened. I was like, and the way he held his leg, I'm like, oh, yeah, he just blew out his knee. That poor guy.
Yeah, that slow-mo was nasty. That thing was going all sorts of different ways.
See, it's like at, 65 degrees or something like that?
Oh, God.
The wrong way. It was bad.
That's bad, yeah.
That's bad. Anyways, Kevin Owens gets the win here. He punches Austin Theory with the cast, and looks at it, realizes, oh, I could do that. Covers him to get the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After that, we're in the Bloodline locker room. Roman says, tonight was supposed to be a celebration. Randy completely ruined Solo's moment. You saw that, right? And Jimmy says, yeah, I saw it.
And he's being a bummer, Jimmy is.
Yeah, he is. He is. And Roman says, someone needs to shut his mouth. The things he said to me needs to be silenced. And Jimmy responds, says, listen, Deuce, I can silence Randy, but it sounds like a job. He looks over to Solo for the tribal heir. And Roman says, are you kidding me? It's promotion season. For you to be able to handle Randy Orton alone, just imagine what's in store for you. You can get anything. You understand? And Jimmy's like, yeet.
Oof.
And then he realizes what he said as Roman turns to him super slow.
He does the most cartoonish gulp. He goes, mm-hmm. And then he says, no yeet.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's good stuff. Anyways, after that. So this is interesting. We got a fancy Karrion Kross. It sort of looked like an old school NWO promo because it was all scratchy. It wasn't in black and white, but it was all scratchy. Some of it
projected and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. It was sort of like Natural Born Killers segment here. He says, I'd like to speak to you all today about the most urgent world event that's about to occur. This place is about to be recycled. And I'm like, is that his new gimmick? The recycler. You know,
he went to a PWG show.
Yeah.
Remember, before the show started, Excalibur to come out and drop a promo. We recycle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's like, why is this can in the garbage? It should be in the recycling.
It's like CM Punk when you go back there and bosses are in the locker room to throw their trash away.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Ryan K. Lamb says eco-friendly cross.
There we go.
He says, the moment I walked through the door, everything was set into motion. And they show clips from like a year ago or a year and a half ago.
When he confronted Roman and made his re-debut, yeah.
Right, exactly. When Scarlett puts the little hourglass in there. Mm-hmm. And he says, everything was set into motion. And now we're at the threshold of a new beginning. So everything's about to crumble. Can you see it yet? Soon you will. Grizzled young veterans are coming back. Soon to be recognized.
Soon.
So, I had seen somebody on the Twitter post up a picture of a silhouette in the background of a bald man, and then somebody else posted a picture next to that of Paul Ellering with AOP.
Yeah, I saw the Paul Ellering. Yeah.
Having Paul Ellering back in the day and them seemingly having been signed by WWE for 6 months now or something.
Yeah, it's been months.
Ages. Is it possible he's going to be leading a new faction with Ellering as the manager and AOP? Now I just want that. Now I just want that.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah. Rebranded as Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Something like that.
Yeah, man.
That'd be good.
So there you go.
Is there something else AOP could stand for that's focused on recycling?
Oh, AOP, always opting for the planet. That's terrible. That's awful. Yeah. Authors of Planet. I don't know.
Authors of Planet.
That's stupid. Afterwards, Kevin Owens was walking backstage. He's holding that busted hand of his. He sees Cameron Grimes. He said, that was awesome.
I was so wish he was going to punch Cameron Grimes.
Me too. Oh, my God. I wanted him to knock him out. It'd been hilarious. He says, that was awesome. Wish I could punch Theory just like that. And then Kevin Owens like, yeah, thanks. He keeps walking. Kayla's there. It's like my career. Says she asked about facing Carmelo. He says, I was kind of like Carmelo Hayes at one point. Almost 10 years ago, I showed up on Raw and I stepped up to John Cena. I'm not saying I'm anything like John Cena, but as far as Carmelo goes, I know he's very talented and he's right next to me right now, sure enough. Carmelo's next to him and he says, what's up, Kev? And he says, not much. And
I love how Kevin Owens said not much. He was like, oh, not much. I just had a match.
Yeah. And Melo continues, I just want to say, first thing, I got a ton of respect for you. You've done it. You've won it all. But this U.S. title tournament, I need this win more than you do. I'm not like Waller. I'm not like Theory. You're not going to punch me in the face. You're not going to little bro me. And then Melo leaves, and Kevin Owens is like, Kayla, What's little broing somebody mean? So,
did I do that? Have I done that?
have I done that before? Have I done that?
It's great.
Cameron Grimes.
Gosh, let's hope he punched Cameron Grimes. Then commentary announces that Charlotte's going to miss 9 months due to a knee injury. I think it's PW Insider said since then it's ACL, MCL, meniscus.
Yeah, it's like the football player yesterday.
Yeah.
It's everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 9 months. That's a real bummer. That's a real bummer.
It is. That is a bummer.
Yeah.
After that, we got a Damage Control promo. This was, again, really stylized. Kind of didn't have the projecting stuff, but it was very stylized like those old NWO things.
It was also incredibly unsubtle when Bailey references Dakota Kai as, the mastermind.
He's the mastermind.
And it cuts to this villainous close-up of Dakota Kai going,
yeah, pretty much twirling.
Yes, Bailey. You're going to be out of the group soon. Yes.
Yeah, I know. So Bailey starts off, says, "You just saw one example of why I created Damage Control in the first place, become the most dominant women's faction in WWE history, and every day we get closer to my goal. I knew that Io was special from day one. I knew she was destined to win Money in the Bank, become your WWE Women's Champion." And Io says, "It's Io's era now, and I'm the most dangerous champion in WWE, and no one will stop me." Bailey has some more. Says, "And with Kabuki Warriors, we are stronger than ever. I just helped Asuka beat Charlotte Flair." Asuka says, "Let that be a warning to anyone who steps to us. No one is ready for Damage Control." Dakota follows, and now it's time for all of us to raise the bar and change the game. And Bailey says, "Spoken like a true mastermind." Yes.
Yes.
Because now is the time for Damage Control to hold all the gold, and that starts with the Kabuki Warriors winning the WWE Women's Tag Titles and me entering the 2024 Royal Rumble and winning and taking Rhea's championship, and finally my dream will become a reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. After that, we had the Kabuki Warriors versus Mia Yim and Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega and Mia Yim get the upper hand by attacking the Kabuki Warriors in advance of the match during their entrance. Mm-hmm. But in the end, Kairi hits one of those awesome, insane elbows on Mia Yim to get the win. So it looks like it would not shock me if the Kabuki Warriors did, in fact, pick up those tag titles. I had mentioned the possibility of... Wait, is that... Yeah, that did go up. Ooh, yeah. That one
that match, it did not go up. Because that was a night 2 thing you did, and I just did night 1.
Oh, there you go.
So I took everything night 2 related out of it.
Oh, cool. Okay. So yeah, spoiler alert. Oh man, are you gonna even put up night 2 after the response from night 1?
Well, you have to redo night 2 because I had Charlotte taking on Bianca.
That's right. We got to redo that. Okay. Well, there you go. So yeah, Bianca. So here's a little spoiler alert for you because we did the WrestleMania card prediction over night 1 prediction over at Friendo Club Wrestling. I've got Bianca and Jade Cargill challenging the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag titles on night 2, and it seems like that, I don't know, one step closer to fruition, perhaps.
It doesn't have to be for the tag titles, though. They can still have a match and not have it for the tag titles.
They could have that match, but why would they if it wasn't for the tag? I mean, look, I know, because Bianca endlessly feuds with Damage Control, but if they're declaring that they're going to challenge for the tag titles, Kabuki Warriors are not going to lose to Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. That is not happening.
No. We're back in the Bloodline locker room. Jimmy tells Solo, there's no Paul, no Roman, just Jimmy and Solo. So Jimmy says to Solo, "Paul and Roman have been talking mighty long, Goose, longer than usual, and don't feel good. It don't feel right, and for real, it feels like a setup. Let me ask you something. Solo, you would tell me if something were to happen to me, right?" Solo just looks at him and says, "I'm your brother."
I'm your brother.
And starts moving around his spiking thumb.
If I'm Jimmy, I just slap this dude on the back of his head and say, "Would you wake up? I'm trying to have a damn conversation with you."
You should do that. "I'm your older brother."
Yeah, right, exactly. I'd give him the wet willy, the purple nurple. I'd give him the old wedgie, I'd be like,
what about you stick his head in the toilet and float?
That's going a little overboard, but yeah, I do a lot of that stuff. I'd be like, "Hey, would you pay it? I'm trying to talk to you and you're being weird and silent." Oh, that would infuriate me.
Well, I mean, I think the being weird and silent is really the answer, Steve.
Yeah, I don't like it. So, anyways, after that, we had a really nice Santos Escobar video package where he's back to being the old Santos Escobar that we knew and loved.
Yeah, he's facing Lashley next week at that U.S. title tournament, so he's talking about their match.
Yeah. And then we had a Bobby Lashley promo. He says, let this sink in. He's got the profits behind him. And he says, Logan Paul's our U.S. champ. Now we have this tournament with all these superstars Logan Paul thinks he could beat, except me. Next round, Santos. And profits say Santos can step up, get stomped out. Lashley says, honestly, Santos, you're just standing in my way. Ba-ba-da-da.
Dun-dun.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, 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 boom.
Then we had our main event, Randy Orton versus Jim Uso. Even though we had, so Solo comes down towards the finish of the match. He walks to ringside, but in order to help out Randy Orton, LA Knight comes down.
Yeah.
Brawls with Solo on the ramp. Orton ends up hitting Jimmy with an RKO to get the win. So afterwards, LA Knight's like, yeah, I just saved you again. Yeah. And so him and Orton are kind of jawing at each other. Roman runs out as LA Knight's not paying attention. Drops Knight from behind. Roman and Orton have a stare down. Crowd's chanting Randy. Roman gets in the ring. They trade hands. Jimmy attacks Orton from behind. He and Roman beat down on Orton. Knight gets in the ring. He hits him with a phenomenal forearm. Knight gets in the ring. He goes after Jimmy. Solo joins in, lays out Knight. AJ Styles music hits, but he doesn't show up there in the ramp. The TV production was kind of infuriating here because they were focusing so much more on Roman's reaction for us, the crowd, to be like anticipating him.
It's a throwback to when AJ made his debut in the Rumble.
That's what I always think about because like they always do that shit, and the worst was at the Rumble. So anyways, AJ shows up from behind. It's a phenomenal forearm that completely shakes those top ropes because he's so huge now.
Yeah,
takes out Jimmy and Solo. Knight clotheslines Solo out of the ring. AJ takes off his shirt, and he's just absolutely jacked. And then Knight pushes past AJ to talk shit to the Bloodline, and then AJ turns around, drops him with the clothesline. Randy sort of is like, okay, all right, that's interesting. And then he leaves the ring and walks right past the Bloodline. So what does it all mean? I don't know.
AJ's joined the Bloodline now.
AJ's trying to be, he's like, whoa, it's promotion season? I want to be tribal.
I was an OC. I want to be promoted to Bloodline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be quite the promotion right there.
Good brother promoted to honorary use.
He's the new Sami Zayn. We're going to replay that storyline.
Yeah, I guess so. We also had Collision this weekend.
We did. Yeah, more Continental Classic. Hold on. Did I bring up? Hold on. I think I actually took a picture of these brackets here, man, so we could talk about.
Oh, the standings, you mean? Yeah.
I just did the Blue League. I didn't do the Gold League. Darn it.
So if memory serves, Mox is 12 points. Swerve and Jay White each have 9 in the Gold League.
Yes, right.
And then Andrade has 9.
Andrade has 9. Danielson has 6. I'm sorry. No, now he's got 9 because
he beat Brody, and then Brody has 6.
Right. Kingston can get 9. So it's going to come down to
Kingston has 6, yeah.
Kingston's got 6, so he can get up to 9. I feel like Danielson's probably going to lose to Cloud because, like, okay, after all these matches are done, they go to a knockout round, right?
Yeah, each bracket, each block does, yeah.
Each block does one knockout, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Kingston's going to beat Andrade to get 9.
Yeah.
Andrade, which means he'll also get the tiebreaker against Andrade, I'm assuming, if they do that, right?
Yeah. But then since Andrade so if Danielson gets 9,
yeah,
Andrade would have the tiebreaker against him, but then Danielson beat Eddie, so they'd have to have a triple threat that match at that point, I would guess, because everyone has a tiebreaker.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Everybody has a tiebreaker on everybody.
They're all tied at 9, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. That's awesome. That's really cool. And then, Garcia is going to beat Brody King to keep him out of it. Because he's got to get one win. And therein lies the spoiler aspect of things.
Yep.
Pride thing. Because Garcia's sitting there like, man, I've got a lot of donuts, which for Steve is great. But for Daniel Garcia, not so much.
No.
So he wants to get something, so he's going to beat Brody. That's going to be a phenomenal match.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be really good.
And I guess you got to assume, although it could be wrong, that it's going to be Mox and Swerve in the second semifinal.
That's what I would think. Yeah, Swerve will get that win back. So let me ask you this, because I was thinking somebody had mentioned this, I think, on like a Wrestle Juice thread or something like that.
Yeah.
And I like your point about Swerve being saddled with mid-card titles. They could also do the thing where the guy elevates the titles.
That's possible.
You know, like Swerve, if there's one thing Swerve I think would like benefit from is having like a bunch of titles just draped over him, and then he elevates those titles.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to have, because obviously we're huge fans of Swerve. He's great.
Of course,
wildly creative, one of the best wrestlers in the company.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the plan, then creative has to hold up their end of the deal too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Obviously, he will do his part to make those titles seem prestigious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's something that's really worth fighting after on the same level as the world title, the international title, the TNT title. But they got to have him in interesting stories and interesting feuds from a creative standpoint. So he's an opportunity to really showcase, hey, these titles are really something. There's something worth fighting for.
It's got to be the kind of thing where he's taken on and beating guys like Jay White, guys who have challenged for the world title, and guys who, like Hangman Page, have been world champions. And if you do that, you're elevating the Triple Crown and kind of making a big deal about it, so that when in 2024 he moves on to challenge for the world title, you treat the Triple Crown more like the Intercontinental had been in WWE for a spell.
That's possible.
Where a big name, a big up-and-coming future world champion's the guy to dethrone Swerve, and that moves him up to the world title scene the way they used to do it back in the day.
Or even better, Swerve still has that Triple Crown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, yeah.
And wins the world title. Then he's got 4 belts.
And then he moves on to, Ultimo Dragon status.
Yep.
Holding all the titles.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, I do, dude, getting back to our conversation from earlier in the show, this has been so well booked. They need to make, and I know Tony Khan said he's probably going to do this, but they need to make it a yearly thing. Let me ask you this. Should they expand the field next year or keep it the way it is?
No, expand it.
Expand?
8. 2 blocks of 8.
2 blocks of, what is it now?
Start with
2
that.
blocks of
6. 2 blocks of 6.
Okay, yeah.
2 blocks of 8. See how it goes. They can carry on from a storytelling perspective, keeping it as interesting as they're doing with 6. Do 8. And then maybe next year, do 4 blocks of 6,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, yeah.
As long as they can, if they can continually expand the field, but keep the storytelling interesting. I mean, obviously, I don't know if they want to do a situation where they have the entire roster in it. That's going to take up the entire year.
Right. Yeah,
maybe 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's enough talent in AEW. You can expand the field to 12 or 24.
Absolutely.
Sorry, is that 12, 16 or 24? And keep it captivating, interesting, and the quality of the matches will still be as high.
Yeah. Yeah. The stories that they're able to tell, and it reminds me how they used to tell, and I know they got and a lot of it were these sort of disingenuous arguments, I feel, but the ranking system they used to have, I was always kind of bummed out they got rid of it, because I thought it was a really great motivating tool in character for people. It's like, man, you get to the beginning of the year and everything resets. That's opportunity for story. You and I had talked about, why didn't they, with Wardlow after the MJF match, why didn't the reason why he couldn't go for the world titles, because I'm a new employee, so I've got a 0-0 record. I can't go for the world title immediately.
Yep.
And I think that's one thing. Tony Khan is an analytics guy. One of the criticisms we've had of AEW is that there seems to be a lack of structure for their divisions. WWE, they've got like the Intercontinental scene. You've got the U.S. title scene, where that certain people are going to be going for that title, and then we'll see if they move on to the next level. You've got the main event scene. You've got above title scene, right? Mm-hmm. And AEW kind of lacks that. They don't really have those sort of strict divisions. And I wonder if that's one way the rankings, if they brought it back, could help with that. I'm kind of surprised that as an analytics guy, Tony Khan doesn't lean more on that aspect of things, because it can be used to tell really interesting stories. The Continental Classic, I think, has been a really, really well done example of, man, you can tell some really cool stories when these points are on the line, when moving ahead is on the line. And instead of Mox just being all about the violence, no, he's beating you with a roll up, because you don't expect that. And the point is to move on, not just to be the most violent guy.
Yep.
So I think that this has been a really, really, I think this has been a strong way for AEW to close out 2023. And I hope that they come up with more ideas that are match-based and competition-based to springboard stories out of, as opposed to, some amount of silliness,
Yeah. And again, it's not to say there's not room for silliness still. Mm-hmm. There is.
Yeah.
But AEW in its history has been so good at competition, in-ring based storytelling that it kind of feels like they tried, whether it was willfully or not, to get away from that to a degree. And like, hey, you try new things, see if they work. If they don't, so be it. But it just kind of felt like for the last year or so that it's been a bit of them kind of figuring out what their identity is going forward. And if at the end they decide, all right, well, in 2021 we were firing on all cylinders because this is what we were doing from a television product.
Yeah.
In terms of how we are presenting our storytelling, let's just go back to that because it was working at the time.
Yeah. I do agree with this here. Patrick Levis says having the Ring of Honor titles on AEW TV doesn't help either. And I agree with that. I really do think that, advertising Ring of Honor on AEW TV, I think that's fine. Do little recap packages here and there. And maybe like a match here and there, but I don't know, man. I kind of feel like you gotta put the Ring of Honor stuff in Ring of Honor, and maybe that's what they're gonna do. They had I think was it Kyle Fletcher picked up the TV title? Is that right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably gonna be on Ring of Honor programming, as opposed to AEW programming. But yeah, I think that's the kind of thing. I mean, that's one thing. I don't know. I don't really know if Swerve wins the entire Continental Classic, I don't really see him on Ring of Honor programming. He's going to be the Ring of Honor champion,
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's all going to shake out.
Yeah, I don't know either. Not sure. I guess we can jump into it. Show opened up with the usual show open promos. We got one from Eddie Kingston, Daniel Garcia, Claudio, Andrade, Brody King, Bryan Danielson, Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy's like, what is this? What am I doing here? That's the extent of it.
That's always his intro promo. What am I even doing? And like the audio.
No, I'm not talking about Eddie. Eddie's like, I got to do this. Got to talk about Orange Cassidy. He was like sitting in like
that was pretty funny.
Like a theater or something like that. Yeah. Played a bunch of seats behind him.
The audio on Eddie's promo was hilariously bad. It was like there was so much going on, you could barely hear him above the external noise. I was cracking.
Well, and Andrade's almost looked like he was in the hotel lobby.
I think him and Danielson were in the lobby. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty. He was like, it was one of those like self-conscious promos where it's like, people are checking in and walking around and like, okay, we're gonna do it here. A key? No bueno.
Or you want to project and emphasize things, but you also don't want to be too loud.
Right. It's like LA Knight dropping the airport promo on his iPhone, talking about like Grayson Waller or something like that. He's all looking around.
He's in the airport lounge. Yeah, I know. They're in the corner somewhere, has to whisper, and then do the whisper scream to emphasize.
Yeah, right.
First match was Claudio versus Andrade, and his show up in promo, Claudio was like, hey, Claudio or Andrade, I'm going to make you pay for what you did Danielson last week. And so Claudio was going out there being like super aggressive and pretty violent.
Yeah, right.
And he ultimately has to cheat to win this particular match. And Andrade's thing now is he wants to rip off the pad on the turnbuckle bolt and hit the DDT in a precursor for his finisher. And he was just like obsessively going after that. He took two of the covers off to try to hit it on Claudio, but Claudio blocks it and then crotches him over that turnbuckle.
Yeah.
And so when the ref is going to put the cover back on the turnbuckle, he picks up Andrade and then knees him right in the balls.
That was the biggest knee to the balls I've seen in a long time. He picked him way up, went whoop-ah.
I don't think I've seen that violent of a low blow in a very long time.
It was pretty awesome.
It was shocking. Anyways, follows with a neutralizer to get the win. 3 points for Claudio.
Was there any CJ in this episode?
No.
She didn't come down with him, right?
No, because she can't.
Nobody can come ringside. You're right. Okay. Yep. That makes sense.
Rules.
Right. Rules. Something to note here as well. They did a Gold League recap. And then Larson. We had the first of 2 women's matches on an AEW program. If I'm not mistaken, and please, if anybody in chat or in the comments afterwards wants to correct me on this, awesome. I'd love to be wrong about this. But I did spend a little bit of time yesterday looking at every episode on the cagematch.net, looking at the rundown of every Dynamite and Collision once that started in 2023. If I'm not mistaken, This was the first episode of AEW programming of the year. Now that we're in December, mid-December, that featured more than one women's match.
So you brought this up to me yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I knew it had been a while, but I would have thought it'd been like, I don't know, a few months, not the entirety of 2023.
Yeah.
Because
now,
I
again,
remember at least one point that I remember having this conversation where they had 2 women's matches on an episode of Dynamite, and we were like, oh, is this a start of something they're going to do on a regular basis now? We were getting exciting, but it's exciting, but at the same time, we were like, let's see what they do next week. And of course, the following week on Dynamite, which should have been a clue of when it happened, there was the usual women's match around 6:30.
So I wanted to say that like an early episode of Collision, it felt like they were gonna do something like that because they started to like feature more when Punk was there. It seemed like they were starting to feature more women.
Well, also they just didn't have the women's match at the 6:30 spot, which is on Dynamite for the longest time. Generally, is when they would have the women's match. Yeah.
So hopefully this is a trend. They've got so much good talent in their women's division, and I
the street fight at Collision was awesome.
It was awesome. And I really like that Abaddon's back and they're doing cool stuff with them, and the Julia Hart stuff and the Sky Blue stuff. I think it's good, and so hopefully it'll be a trend. You know, like honestly, I think it should be like a minimum. If you have 2 hours, you put on a women's match like 1 per hour, right?
Yeah, that should be the absolute minimum. Yeah.
If there's weeks here and there where it's packed and loaded and they have time for one meaty women's match, right? Okay, so be it. But there seemed to be such a stickler all year long where you get one and that's it. And you're not going to vary from that.
Nope. Yeah. Yep.
And it'd be nice if it was more like, well, we've got some good story ideas. We got some good stuff going with the women's division. Let's do it. Let's put on a couple of matches per episode.
Yeah.
So,
and like not just the matches, segments. I mean, we had a Tony Storm interview here. Like I know we're saying here that AEW seemingly has hit a bit of a stride here, telling stories in the ring, but that's not to say that that's all you should do.
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
Yeah.
When you need to still develop character. You could do that in the ring, but also I know it's just the trope of pro wrestling. You do it with interviews and promos too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
And so continue with that, and just even if you have 2 matches, don't be like, all right, we got 2 segments, we're good in that respect. No, we got to get to know these characters and who they are and why we should be invested in their stories. So part of that is you got to let them talk.
You know, usually they're not terrible at that. Like usually you'll get a couple of women's sort of segments in terms of like video packages and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just surprised when I saw the street fight was happening. I was like, whoa, wait a second. Hold on. Wait a second. Because I know you and I talk about this endlessly. And I know that it's been a while since this has happened. So hopefully it's a trend. You know, I'm going to give credit when credit is due. And if this is something that is going to be more of a regular occurrence, then I'm going to go ahead and do that. I mean, Collision is it's their second major show. It's their 2-hour show. It's their second major show. So I'm going to be positive about that. We had Abaddon versus Jasmine Allure. Abaddon gets the win quickly here with a running knee and a Black Dahlia. Lights go down. They come back up. Julia Hart's in the ring. She lays down the TBS title between her and Abaddon. Abaddon tackles Hart. They brawl in the ring. Abaddon hits Julia with a running knee, picks up the TBS title. Sky Blue gets in the ring, steps up to Abaddon. They both look at Julia. Sky then blasts Abaddon from behind. It looked like they had come to an agreement, but no. Sky turns on Abaddon. They both attack Abaddon. Thunder Rosa, who earlier in the episode had been seen, and they did a little, which I was like, man, you should do that every week when you show the Spanish announce team. I was like, that's kind of, you know, it's like, oh, hey, look, we got a bunch of stuff going on here. She was seen with the Spanish announce team. So she comes back into the ring, goes after Sky Blue while Abaddon clobbers Julia out of the ring. And then Thunder Rosa and Abaddon shake hands. And then it was announced later on she's going to be making her in-ring return. When? Soon, right? When is this?
I think soon, because they're in San Antonio coming up soon.
I thought they said that maybe that's going to be the thing. I thought there was an announcement that was happening.
That would make sense. Would make sense. After that, we had an Acclaimed interview. So Renee's starting to ask a question, and then Daddy Ass cuts her off and says, I've got to cut you off because Daddy asked and he claimed are pissed off. You might have knocked us down, but the problem is we got back up. So Caster interrupts, says, calm down, Billy. What Billy means is that we're coming after that ass. Whoever's under that mask, we're coming for you and MJF. We're friends, but now I want nothing to do with you because you put us in danger and you didn't care. So you know what? Like as he hesitates, Bowens takes over. Says what it boils down to is that there is a group of individuals who try to end our careers. So consider this: the acclaimed search and destroy mission, because we're going to beat your Scooby-Doo villain-looking asses the second we find out who you are. On top of that, Renee, we're going to get back to being the best damn trios in all of AEW history because everyone loves the acclaim. In steps Top Flight and Action Andretti. And Dante says, first off, we just want to clarify, we didn't attack you. However, we were walking by, heard you're issuing a challenge. So Darius says, I don't know if you guys have been watching from home, but we're the coldest trios in the game right now. We got wins over the Hardys and Zay, Commander, Penta, Vikingo. And Action says, and yes, we know everybody loves the acclaim, but what we would love is to have those trios titles around our waist. Bowen says, appreciate the eagerness. Challenge accepted. See you next week in San Antonio.
Yep. Yeah, I heard that Rampage match was really, really good.
I know. I want to check it out. I haven't had time yet, but yeah.
I was going to check it out this morning, and then I didn't. After that, we had Orange Cassidy versus Brian Keith making his AEW debut, which is pretty awesome.
Wrestled at Final Battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Of course, Orange Cassidy gets the win here. Gets like sort of a pinning combo. Good to see Brian Keith on TV.
Yes.
And then we had a mirror. What the fuck? I missed it. How did I miss
You missed the Miro promo?
I guess so. That's surprising.
Wow. It says, where am I going? I'm not even sure anymore. I thought wrestling poisons her, but maybe it's her that poisons me. I've been talking things that don't make sense, getting caught up in all the drama that I tried to avoid, but I am the Redeemer. I don't want to fight Andrade because he's my wife's client. I want to fight him because he's an asshole. If he loses to Claudio, then he's one step closer to being eliminated. I'm done avoiding people to please my wife. I'm ready to kill everyone to please myself.
Wow.
I fall to the light for so long that I let my darkness consume me. This is the word of the Redeemer.
Let's see here. Are they like stepping away from that awful promo on Dynamite?
Oh, I hope so.
It seems like it. I don't want to fight Andrade because he's my wife's client. I want to fight him because he's an asshole. Okay, so they're still teasing that match. If you lose to Claudio, one step closer to being eliminated. I'm done avoiding people to please my wife. I'm ready to kill her. Okay, yeah, just keep on doing that stuff, Miro.
Yeah. We don't need Miro being a misogynist. No,
not so obvious one, anyways. You know, if you're gonna get creative with your misogyny, please. Come on, man. You should be in the kitchen cleaning. Come on, be more creative than that, man.
Be more creative for sure. Just generally speaking, yes.
Yeah. After that, we had a Commander interview, but before it could really get going, Roddy says, "Commander." He steps in with the kingdom. He says, hey, despite all the good things she's been saying about you didn't win, and that's not very good. He says, I'm a former Ring of Honor TV champion and a former survival of the fittest winner. Taven says, I won the TV title my very first night under contract. And Roddy says, so I just wanted you to know this. I myself am looking to get back on the horse. And fellas, I think I found my next victim. Commander! It's pretty fun.
Great.
So I think they're going to fight on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, then we got FTR coming out dropping promo. Cash was first though, and pretty much it's just this is long, so we don't have to go into it completely. Says,
well, look, you do what? Cash. I just called dibs on doing Dax.
All right, fine. So Cash says, House of Black. Let me say, if you have a problem with us, no more magic, no more sneak attacks. You have a problem with us, come out here and meet us face to face. He says they're jealous of all their success, winning the ROH, AAA, New Japan, and two-time AEW tag champs. Says that they're also jealous of Brody's success and Julia's success. Says, but you're not going to take the anger out on yourself or your other House of Black stablemate, so you got to direct it elsewhere. So where else than the living legends? So if you want to say something to us, you know where to find us. Go ahead, Dax.
Well, I'm just going to pause here really quick because this was actually hilarious. Because right towards the tail end of Cash's promo, you could see this guy in the crowd. He's got a Bullet Club shirt on. He has some of those like big Bret Hart style glasses on.
Yeah.
He's holding the beer up close like this, and he's loud as can be. FTR sucks. And that made Dax laugh. And I knew.
Oh, that's why he laughed. Okay,
yeah.
I saw the laugh. Yeah.
And he was so itching to say something about that guy. He so wanted to. I was cracking up because that place was quiet when Cash was talking. FTR sucks. So anyways, Dax follows with, Dallas, I love you all, man. I think there's a lot you can say about FTR. You can say we're not the best looking guys in the world, and that's okay. You can say we might not have the best bodies in the world. No, that's an understatement. You can say we're not flashy, and I even heard that we're hard to do business with. But there's one thing you can say about FTR. That's we're backing down for a fight. Face to face, I don't mind taking ass whooping. For the last 19 years of my life, I fought men for money. If I get my ass whooped, that's okay, but I do have a problem with a sucker punch from behind. So now the challenge for the first time ever, House of Black. And then their mics get cut off and lights go out. And you get Malachi and Buddy. And Buddy says, boys, I don't think you understand. We're not here to hurt you. We're here trying to prove the point that no one in the back has your back. See, Mark Briscoe won't save you. Dax, your wife, your kid, they won't save you. Everyone you love won't save you. But I want to direct this question to Cash. Who loves you? All these people love you. But Dax, who loves you? I'll tell you who loves you. We love you. We embrace you. Welcome of both of you being our family. And Malachi says, there's this constant here that somehow is personal. It's not personal. This is what happens when we have to prove a point so aggressively it even hurts us, because this is love. Because let me ask you this question, and for that matter, the entire audience. When we attacked you, who came to save you? No one. So did we lie? Folks, where's the lie? He says, if I make it personal, well, I'll do the following. I have a picture of you, of your wife, of your daughter, and I would do this to it. And Buddy has a printout of of Dax's family. Yeah. And then Malachi lights it on fire. And then Malachi says, symbolic, like it or not, we're your family now. And then FTR, for some reason, take offense to this, and they rush backstage.
Yeah.
This is the silliness that I speak of, man. Yes. And it's halfway entertaining because it is silliness, and the absurdity of pro wrestling is such that this entertains me. And by the way, the match will be awesome.
It'll be great. It's just not the most captivating stuff.
It's not captivating at all, but for entertainment value, the silliness does entertain. FTR are like, they are obviously, goes without saying, two of the best in-ring tag team guys like we've ever seen. Their characters are so wildly, hilariously stupid, though. Like, I don't know. Whenever they get on the mic, it's like, oh, God. Oh, we're hard to do business with.
Oh, I know. Here, let's reference our heat, blah, blah, blah.
Right, exactly. Like,
I know.
And I like even, and it's all in character stuff. So, like, Cash saying, you guys are unrealized potential. Give me a break. That's the thinnest of fucking, that's not it. Get out of here.
You're jealous of Julia and Brody's success.
Right. I don't know. FTR, they're that group that I love to hate, but I always know those matches are going to be so off the charts good. They're going to be so good. And I'm looking forward to this too. But I'm a House of Black guy, Larson.
Yeah. Steve's a House of Black drone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of great tag matches, we had one next. Willow and Chris Statlander teaming up against Mercedes Martinez and Diamante in a street fight.
Ooh, boy, this is fun.
It was fun. It was creative.
It was, yeah.
Good creative stuff here.
Yeah.
We had a crowbar introduced. We had a briefcase full of broken glass and thumbtacks, some table spots. Finish saw Willow looking for a DVD on Mercedes through a table on the floor. Mercedes blocks that, looks for a powerbomb, but Willow grabs on the ropes. Diamante drop kicks her, allowing Mercedes to powerbomb Willow to the table. Mm-hmm. But then Chris Statlander punches Diamante with a fistful of chain to get the win. Go your way to watch this. It was really creative, really fun. Pace was fantastic. They gave it time, and everybody delivered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is usually what happens when AEW gives the women's division an opportunity to showcase what they can do.
No, absolutely.
They deliver.
Absolutely. Yeah, they really do. After that, we had a Tony Storm interview. Renee asked if she has a preference of opponents at World's End, and Tony says, not really. That was awesome. So Renee asked Mariah about her first match. She says, well, Tony Khan helped me apply for my American wrestling license, so it's going to happen very soon. And Miss Storm, you were sensational on commentary on Dynamite, and I was hoping you can commentate my first match. And Tony says, darling, I'm very busy. Mariah says, oh, that's okay. Well, maybe you can check it out at some point. Give me some pointers. Tony says, darling, I'm very busy, but next time I hold a seminar, you'll be the first to know. As for Riho and Saraya, go ahead and go out there and slap each other's tits off, gouge each other's eyes out, rip each other's hair out, and at World's End, I'll be facing one of two titless blind baldies. Until then, my chin will be up, my tits will be out, and watch for then. Renee's like, whoa, hey. Tony says, good reflexes, Renee, and leaves. Tony Storm is awesome.
Yeah, Renee almost broke out laughing a couple times during this.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. She said, facing one of two titless blind baldies.
Oh, it's so good.
That's funny.
Then we got a Christian Adam Copeland video package where Adam Copeland challenges Christian to a no DQ match for the TNT title at World's End. I guess that's when edgy Adam Copeland's going to win that title.
Yep. Yeah. Seems like that'd be the case. And then, hey, maybe the TNT title, maybe the scene will open up. Christian doesn't need that title, man. He just goes around, talking to people who don't have dads, and that's probably entertaining enough.
Yeah. Then we had Brian Cage versus Kerry Wright. Cage wins this very quickly. Powerbomb, drill claw gets the W. Then we have a Gates of Agony, Brian Cage, Prince Nana interview. So Lexi asks, what's next? And Brian Cage says, first of all, it's time for you to put some respect on my name, that the machine gets his flowers. Like I said last night at Swerve House, but we all live in it too. So I'll own the spotlight, have the best match of the night, and get all my stuff in.
I do like that in his prayer. He always talks about getting his stuff in. That's pretty good stuff.
So then Prince Nana says, Lexi, what kind of question is that, huh? Swerve is about to win the Continental Classic, and look at these two monsters, the Gates of Agony. We're in the money. We're in the money. And he starts to walk off with the rest of the Mogul Embassy, but then Keith Lee steps in. So this brings Brian Cage back in. And Keith Lee goes, whoa. Congratulations on the win. However, to celebrate, you could tell him, my patience runs thin and time is running out. So we're getting Swerve and Keith Lee finally.
That's happening. That's
I guess
awesome.
at World's End?
I'd be down with that. Swerve's going to win that match.
But that means Swerve is not winning the Continental Classic then, because the finals of the Continental Classic are at World's End.
So Swerve loses to Mox in the semis?
Who does Swerve face in his last round robin match? Because he's beaten Lethal.
I don't have the damn thing in front of me.
Beat Jay White. Lost to Mox. Now I'll remember it sometime.
Let's see if there's a thing here. I'm sure somebody in chat will have
Roosh.
Classic.
John Chambers says Roosh.
That's right. Swerve.
Yeah, they've been talking
Roosh.
crap on social media.
They have been, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Man, that match is going to be awesome.
Oh, my God. That match is going to hurt to watch.
Yeah, it is. In the best way.
Much like this Eddie Kingston versus Daniel Garcia match.
Man, this was good stuff.
They were just beating the shit out of each other. It was great.
It was great. Garcia is working over Eddie's leg early. Eddie hits a DDT before the commercial break. And this whole extended sequence where Eddie's in the corner just chopping the hell out of Garcia. And Garcia starts kind of like slouching in the corner and falling. And then Eddie will step back or the ref will bring him back. And Garcia just gets whatever energy he has and tries to dance a little bit. Eddie goes back in there, starts chopping a bunch more. And so at one point, Garcia's laying, like slouched in the corner completely. He looks at Eddie, just kind of smiling, mocking him, and just starts dancing a little bit. And then it makes a comeback after that. Starts doing some mat-based stuff, and you have Daddy Magic on commentary. Be like, yeah, there you go, Danny. Keep it on the mat. Keep it on the mat.
Yeah.
Eddie would always find a way out of it, though. Hits a back fist. Garcia kicks out. So Garcia hits a Saito suplex, and another Saito gets a 2, looking for the Dragon Tamer. Eddie escapes that. They're trading blows. Garcia drop kicks Eddie in the knee, but runs into a half and half suplex, and then Eddie hits another back fist for the win.
Yeah, really,
good stuff.
Really good stuff. And then it was
the desperation with
back.
which Eddie is wrestling with is
it's awesome.
Is great.
Yeah, and back to back, we got Danielson versus Brody King right after that. Oh my God, dude! You have to appreciate that Danielson's story is last year of full-time wrestling is just I'm getting wrecked. Like I feel like that's like. He's like kayfabing why he's got to retire. It's like, hey, It's good enough that you want to be with your family. That's good enough. You don't have to wrestle your body apart to retire. But that's the story he's telling, man. That I just was wrecked. And he keeps it closed so it looks even worse.
Oh, I know. It's bleeding all over the place.
Oh, man, it was awesome. Yeah, this match was awesome, man. Brody King is a monster.
Yeah, this match was great. Brody was just wrecking him on the ringside area early in the match. It's a boss man slam to get it 2. Later on, he's looking for another cannonball, but Danielson counters with a single leg crab. Brody powers out of that. So Brian hits a bunch of kicks because he's working Brody's leg, trying to get him off his vertical base. Follows with Danielson stomps, 12-6 elbows, but Brody powers Bryan up, hits a Death Valley driver, gets a 2. Bryan hits a knee plus, and Brody kicks out at 1.
Yeah, that was rad.
And Danielson was shook by that.
Yeah.
So they go back and forth a little bit. Brody looks for a clothesline. Danielson ducks that, hits 2 knee pluses to the face, another one to the back to get the win. But Brody kicked out at 3.1.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love when they do that shit.
I know. They don't do that stuff enough.
I know. I agree.
But if they did it all the time, it wouldn't be as impactful when they did do it.
They used to be the norm all the time back in the day. Like Hogan, man, he'd be kicking out at,
He'd be kicking out at 3.00000001.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On the odd occasion, he would eat a pin.
Yeah, I know. Didn't happen very often anyway. Steve.
No,
you want to answer some questions.
Would you like to look at the television, Mr. Lee? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
All right, let's take a look here.
Oh, Timor has a great question. If you could replace one part of the standard Christmas meal with any item from a fast food place, what are you replacing for what?
Oh, yeah. What do you guys usually have for Christmas? You don't bust out a turkey, right?
No. It's usually a roast of some sort. That's usually Christmas. Well, it depends.
You do a ham?
No, we do Easter is ham, turkey for Thanksgiving, and then usually like a rib roast or something like that for Christmas.
Yeah.
It varies, though. It's not really constant. Like this year, I think we're just doing a brunch thing.
Yeah, we sort of do whatever, too.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I want to do this every year, but for 1 year, dessert would be McDonald's apple pies.
Oh, what a great idea. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember like what we even have for Christmas. Like we go to my mom's for Christmas Eve. And then we just do a thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So usually the last few years we'll do Christmas Eve, just my family or our family here, and then my parents will come over.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make chili and cornbread.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds good.
And then the Christmas
to come over to your house, have some chili. That sounds good.
You want to come over and have some chili and cornbread?
They'd be like, man, you're a guest here. Why are you eating all the cornbread? Get away from my cornbread.
I know, it's my cornbread now. You go and just lick the whole pan. Spit in the chili. It's my chili.
Yeah, I'm going to have your cornbread. Yeah. Spit in the chili.
It's like, Steve, I'm working on this all day. I started this at 10 in the morning so all the flavors can mingle.
Yeah, I'm going to mingle in my belly. Let's see here. Jason Dwyer says, has there ever been a superstar that you didn't get and they did an interview and it changed your opinion? He says his would be Karrion Kross and his interview with Chris Van Vliet. Yeah, was it specifically when he did his amazing Jesse Ventura impersonation? Because that put mine to shame. I was like, oh my God, he literally sounds exactly
like Jesse. I know.
Oh, that's a good example though. Yeah, I know this has happened with me.
Yeah. But I can't think of it. These questions where I get put on the spot like this.
Oh, dude, I know. I can never remember.
Especially a day like today where I just want to go. I'm just tired. I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah. I'll be honest. So I'll say this. Like, I've always been okay with giving Miz a chance after our interview with him.
All right.
Meeting people changes a lot. Yeah, when you meet them and they're nice to you, it's like, oh man, I want to root for them now.
Yeah.
But then, then they just do nothing with Miz and it's like, I'm sort of just bored with
that. Zach Sparks says, with the jacked look AJ and Randy have now, what fast food options are you downing 8 times a day to reach that physique? My money's on 3 long boy chicken sandwiches a meal. Here's the thing. To get that much muscle, you're eating a ton of protein.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so if you're eating the chicken sandwiches, guess what? Your bun is going to be the chicken patties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, yeah.
So it's probably going to be something boring because you want lean protein too. You don't want anything too fatty.
So from what I've heard, Chipotle is the place of choice, or at least at one point it was for many wrestlers.
Because you can
load all that
double on the protein. You get your beans in there.
Beans, exactly, yeah. So probably Chipotle.
Yeah.
And the thing about Chipotle is that it doesn't taste like much. It's got that Chipotle flavor, which is like not really. But at the same time, it doesn't make you feel bad,
Yeah.
Here we go. John in Alistair voice says, which famous movie scene do you guys think would be heightened by inserting Lashley's theme song?
Sorry, say again.
What famous movie scene do you think would be heightened by inserting Lashley's theme song? To me, it's when Darth Vader shows up in Empire Strikes Back and Han Solo tries to shoot him and he deflects it.
Yeah.
That would work perfectly.
It would. Yeah, that would work. I'm trying to think of something. It's Jurassic Park with the T-Rex theme.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
The T-Rex scene. I mean, where the stomp in the water.
Yeah.
Ripples in the cut.
Yeah.
Imagine instead of T-Rex stomps, it's boom,
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 boom, boom,
boom, boom.
Let's see here. Ooh, this is a good one. Jesse Helsia says, I came across one of your Wrestling What If videos, and it got me wondering, what are some Steven Larson what if moments? I think the biggest one is if I didn't pick up my phone while I was driving from Sac to San Diego, and instead you called Ryan.
Yeah.
Because I remember you telling me that was your B option.
Yeah. Yep. To do some voiceover work, yep.
Yeah, man. Ba-da-da. That's like the biggest what if, I think. Everything after that was like whatever. I think maybe, but I feel like it was sort of a foregone conclusion. After we were laid off from Machinima, we were sort of, banding about the idea of like sort of separate Patreons, like one for wrestling and one for video games and movies and stuff. I mean, that's always one of the things is like if you and I had, instead of done the wrestling route, gone like the movie route, I think that was a possibility for us.
Maybe.
We never seriously talked about it, but I feel like in retrospect, we might have come to that conclusion if we were like, I don't want to do a wrestling podcast.
Yeah. But we did want to do a wrestling podcast.
But we did, yeah.
D. Kyle asks, will Damian Priest be the first wrestler ever to go a full 365 days with the Money in the Bank without cashing in? I think it'd be interesting if he got literally to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and is so desperate to cash in.
Yeah, I know. I agree. They could do some interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
Dave Matushek says, considering that Kenny Omega is out indefinitely, what would become of Chris Jericho's tag team ambitions? Well, remember the scene in Infinity War when everybody withers away? That's what happens.
Yeah. Made Jericho's be like, I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to leave.
How about you just see Jericho like, backstage looking for any young talent he could suck their momentum.
We mentioned in an interview that he wanted to work with Swerve.
Oh God, what?
Yeah.
Swerve, run away.
He's like, I don't want to work with Edge or Christian because I've wrestled them a bunch.
No, stick to Edge. It's fine. Edge versus Jericho for the TNT title.
Fine. Do it.
Bathroom break.
Exactly.
I'm the Rocky Feller says, who is going to be showing up as Santa Claus tonight? So we have Truth versus J.D. McDonough in a Miracle on 34th Street. Whatever.
Have Finn show up as Santa.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that
help
be
JD
great.
win.
Yeah.
Carson Thrasher says, which wrestler do you think has the most metal gimmick excluding Rhea Ripley? I mean, Damian Priest has got a pretty metal presentation,
That's pretty metal right there. Yeah. I mean, Boogs had one, like old school metal. Like
yeah, kind of,
metal,
yeah. Yeah, 80s maybe. Yeah.
He would shred. All Judgment Day, like Rhea Ripley. Like, tell me she don't look metal as fuck.
Well, that's what it says. The question is excluding Rhea.
Yeah. Oh, excluding Rhea. Okay, sorry. Let's see here. Eastside says, another wrestler has come back jacked in AJ Styles. What is your favorite or most surprised you've been with a wrestler whose body has changed, either for the better or worse? So 2 examples come to mind. Jinder Mahal, when he came back in phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And then Triple H, when like his lats were so big he couldn't put his arms
down. Yeah.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah. Kyle here says, do you think AJ is going to be the person Scott D'Amore is talking about? I mean, I don't honestly think that's who it's going to be because he couldn't have conversations with AJ now because AJ is still under WWE contract.
Yeah.
That'd be tampering. And I don't think AJ's contract would it was slated to expire by the time of Hard to Kill.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the people that got released.
Like an Ali or a Dolph Ziggler.
Because Ali posted on Twitter 12/21/23 at 12:21 p.m. Eastern. Which would be, 9:21 our time. I don't know if that's... It doesn't really fit into when Impact's show is on.
Yeah, right. It's like,
it's late.
On 9 o'clock in the morning? Yeah.
So...
Jonathan Vieira says, who goes over in an AJ Styles and LA Knight feud if they fought for Logan's U.S. title? Make it a triple threat.
Triple threat. Maybe at first you have AJ go over, so then LA Knight can chase AJ for the title.
There you go. Yeah. I was surprised when I showed you Okada's TNA debut. I had never seen that before. How much it looks like he's got a bunch of baby fat on him, you know?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm tired of this place already.
Yeah, no.
He's like, but I found this place called Burger King. I found this place called Wawa.
Smurf Galloway, Stephen M. asks, who's the next person to come back unbelievably jacked?
So who's gone right now? What if Charlotte comes back Brock Lesnar size?
What if Dolph
my God.
has like 30 pounds of muscle?
That'd be weird. He's like, you guys wanted me to reinvent myself.
He comes back looking like Triple H when he couldn't put his arms down all the way.
Yeah, right. He tries to do like his regular moves in the ring, and it's just the bone or the muscle just comes flying off the bone.
Oh, I know.
This is a good one. Ryan Gorman says, how would you save Damian Priest in this Money in the Bank run? He still doesn't feel like a main eventer in a Raw scene with a ton of stars. I think you got to tell some sort of story with him leading up to next year's Money in the Bank. Because here's the thing. Seth and Punk are fighting for that damn title at Mania. Like, that's happening.
What if Priest does this? He uses the Money in the Bank cash in on the match. Next year's Money in the Bank ladder match, so he's like the 7th participant in
it. There you go. He just trades one for the other.
Yeah. It's the record for longest briefcase reign.
There you go. We'll end on this one. The Blind Mask says, which 5 wrestlers would you line up in a battlefield for Earth against an alien invasion? I don't need 5. I'm going with Lashley.
Of course.
They'd be like, and then you hear, Spear, Hurtlock, Spear, Hurtlock.
You just need Lashley.
And they fly away. They're like, no, we're not doing this.
No, we're done with Earth.
We're going to go take over Uranus. Anyways, that's going to do it for this show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.